Hello guys, sorry I couldn't be here today. I had to go out for an emergency, but I'll make sure that you guys are not missing the class. Alright, so this is what we would do today if I was here, but since I'm not, I'm making sure that you don't miss the class. Alright? Alright, so today's topic would be factorizing cubic equation. Alright, so when I say cubic equation, I mean the power of x, or the highest power of x, is x cubed. So the first equation we're going to look at is x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6, right? So this is how normally a cubic equation looks like. The highest power of x being a cube, and then it gradually decreases to a constant, comes to a constant. So when I say factorizing, what I basically mean is breaking it down into its prime factors. So as we saw from the classes before, a quadratic equation has two factors, right? And a cubic equation has three factors. So this thing is actually a product of three factors like this, right? Where a and b are constant numbers. So we're going to try and break it down into its factors. Okay, so this cubic expression needs to be broken down into its factors. Right? Three factors, x plus a, x plus b, x plus c, where a, b, and c are going to be numbers. All right. So how do we break it down? In order to break down a cubic equation, we first need to find out one of the factors. So out of the three factors, we need to first identify one of them, and we do that by a trial and error method. All right, but don't worry, we're not going to start with random values. There are some values that we can identify from the cubic equation itself. So the first thing you need to do is look at the constant, this one. Right? This constant tells us a lot about the expression, cubic expression, right? So let's look at this constant. This is 6, right? So we know that this constant is a product of a, b, and c. If you multiply this, the last number will always be a product of these last three numbers, right? Since it has no x, these three x's will not play a part in this constant. So I know 6 is a product of a, b, and c. Now think of three numbers that when multiplied can give you 6, right? So what are the factors of 6? So let's look at the factors of 6. The factors of 6 are be plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and plus minus 6. Why am I writing plus minus? Because you can have minus 1 into minus 6, that gives you 6. You can have plus 1 into 6, that also gives you 6, right? So we're looking at both the negative and the positive factors. So now what we're going to do is we're going to write this equation, or we're going to type this equation in our calculator. All right. So let's move on to our calculator and see how we can write this equation on our calculator. So our equation from the video was x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. Right? So the problem here is, how do we write that x, or where is that x? Right? So in order to write the variable x in the calculator, you need to be aware of two buttons. Number one is alpha, and number two is this x. So as you can see, there's this red x here, and all the red letters can be written by pressing this button alpha. Right? So let's try and write our equation. So the first term was x cubed, alpha. So I pressed alpha, and then I pressed x, and see, the variable x appears. Right? So let's try that again. You press alpha, this button, so I pressed it. You see the small a appears, that means it's in alpha mode. So now whatever you press, the red letter on top is going to appear. So you press this x, and you see this red x, that is going to appear. And once you press the button, the alpha mode is gone. So if you want to type any red letter again, you need to press alpha again. Right? So then it was x cubed. So as you can see, there is this x cubed here on top of this button. This is actually the square button. But if you press the shift button here, and then you press this, you get the cube of it. So shift, and then this one, this is x cubed. Okay, plus then it was 6x squared. So 6, again I need to write x, so I have to press alpha, and then I press this button x, so 6x, and now it has to be
there has to be a square on top. So this button again, without pressing shift, if you press this, you get a square. So x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11. Again, I need to add an x, so alpha x. All right. So x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. And here you have the equation. Right? So once you're done writing the equation, just press the equal sign. Okay? Don't worry about the value, whatever it says. Once you press the equal sign, it means that the calculator has accepted your equation. Now, by putting values of x, you're going to find the value of this equation. So how do we put the value of x? In order to put the value of x, you have this calc button here. In your calculator, it might be somewhere else. Just look for the calc button. All right, so press the calc button. And now the calculator is actually asking you for a value of x. So the value we have currently put in is -1. All right, so let's try put other values. So when x is 0, so when you press 0, you're basically saying that now you want the value of x to be 0, and then you just press the equal sign. All right, so as you can see, when x is 0, the equation has a value of 6, which is pretty logical because x cubed becomes 0, 6x squared becomes 0, 11x becomes 0, and you're left with plus 6, which is the result. Okay, you want to put another value, again press the calc button, press another value. So say if I press -2, and it's 0. So when the value of x is -2, the function is equal to 0, or the equation is equal to 0. And since it's equal to 0, I can say that -2 is a solution. Right? Remember, when we put the value of x in an equation and it's 0, or the remainder is 0, that means that indicates that it is a factor. So if the value of x equals to -2 gives us 0, that means x plus 2 is a factor. Because if we put the factor equals to 0, x becomes -2. So x plus 2 equals to 0 makes x -2. So the factor, one of the factor for this equation is x plus 2. All right, and since you know one of the factors, it's pretty simple to find the others by doing a long division. So let's get back to the video.
So welcome back. As you saw from the calculator demonstration, when I put the value of x in the equation as -2, so when x is equal to -2, and when I put the value of x as -2 in this equation, the whole equation is equals to 0. So let's look at it again. -2 cube plus 6 into -2 square plus 11 into -2 plus 6. Alright, so if you solve this, -2 cube is -8, -2 square, sorry, this is a 6, so let me write it a bit clearly. So -2 square is 4, 4 into 6 is plus 24. Alright, and then minus 11 into -2 is -22, and lastly we have plus 6. And if you add all of them together, you get the result to be 0. So when x is equal to -2, the expression or the equation has no remainder, right? When this is equals to 0, remember we talked about this in the remainder theorem. When you put the value of x in the equation and it comes out to be 0, that means this is a factor, right? So what is a factor? X equals to, for the value of x equals to -2, this is 0. So I can say that x plus 2 is a factor, and when this is equal to 0, the whole expression is equal to 0. Okay, so thinking back on the remainder theorem, remember when something is a factor and if you equate it to 0 and find the value of x, and if you put that value of x in the equation or expression, the expression comes out to be 0. So this is the reverse of factor theorem or remainder theorem, right? So when we know that when the value of x is -2, this whole expression is equal to 0. Now, using that x equals to -2 and taking 2 to the other side, we find that the factor of one of the factor of this expression is x plus. Right. So x plus 2 is equal to 0. Now I know one of the factors, which is x plus 2. Now all I have to do is divide. Remember I taught you division. We talked about polynomial division. So now divide this expression, this one, with this factor, x plus 2. So let's start the division. So x plus 2, and using this we are going to divide x cube plus 6x square plus 11x plus 6. Okay. Alright, so let's do the division. So when x is equal, in order to make x equals to x cube, I need to multiply it with an x square. So x cube plus 2x square. Again, change the signs. These cancels out. We have 4x square plus 11x plus 6. Okay, now we have plus 4x. So this is 4x square plus 8x. Again, we do the same thing. We subtract. This cancels out. We have 3x plus 6. Then we have plus 3. So this is 3x plus 6. And when we subtract, the whole thing cancels out. The remainder is 0. Alright, so the other factor, or the product of the other factors, is x plus 4x, x squared plus 4x plus 3. So now I can write this as a product of these two. So this is x plus 2 into x squared plus 4x plus 3. Right? Now you can also do middle term breaking and break this into two other factors. So this is x plus 2 into, so if you do middle term breaking, this is actually x squared plus 3x plus x plus 3. Hopefully you remember how to do middle term breaking. Okay, so this comes out to be x plus 3 and x plus 1. X plus 1. So these are the three factors of the expression x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6. So I can write it as x plus 2, x plus 1 into x plus 2 into x plus 3. Okay, so this is pretty much how you factorize a cubic equation. First thing you have to do is use trial and error method and find out one of the factors, and then divide the expression with that factor to find the product of the other two factors, and then use middle term breaking to find the other two factors. Okay. Alright, so that is how you find factors of a cubic equation. I have uploaded some problems in the classroom. Please have a look at it, solve those problems and submit, and I will count your attendance from there. Alright, so that would be your attendance for this class. Please make sure you solve all the problems, and if you have any problem solving it, please refer back to this video. Alright.